Presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Please see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically, a historic episode as things have changed drastically since last week. On Saturday, a bullet meant for former President Donald Trump's head narrowly missed, but sadly struck a person sitting in the crowd, killing him in front of his family. There were no riots after. Were there prayers? Yes, but no one in the streets, not even the Proud Boys of the Patriot Front. So after an assassination attempt, the media and politicians are now telling us that we need to turn down the temperature when it comes to politics. This comes after months of the media claiming that MAGA wants revenge in 2025, and also elected politicians like Maxine Waters saying MAGA supporters are, quote, training in the hills to take back the country if the Democrats win this fall. All of which was lies meant to raise the political temperature in this country. I mean, for 4 years, they tried to get you to believe that Donald Trump was a threat to our democracy, that he was Adolf Hitler, a dictator trying to take power back again. Now, what are they asking us to believe? Now, they want you to believe a 20-year-old gunman, acting alone, without any planning or surveilling of the venue, drove an hour and a half, saw that venue where the rally was held for the very first time, was able to identify a tactically superior and somehow completely unguarded elevated perch that was 150 yards from the president's podium where he was speaking. He accessed it via, who knows, a ladder? I don't know. And began to shoot, 5 shots? All while a sniper on another roof watched. And also, this 20-year-old kid, was an explosive expert, apparently. I want to say something. Trump is probably only alive because people called out the shooter. Remember that. And also, by the grace of God, because he turned his head at the very last second. But again, if rally attendees saw it and were pointing out a shooter on a white rooftop, and they saw it for a while, how did the professionals not see it? We're not letting this go until we have answers. So let's dive into this where it starts. And that's the Secret Service. How did they drop the ball? Who's in charge there? Who is Kimberly Cheadle? Well, she joined the United States Secret Service in 1995. She was also a member of Joe Biden's Vice Presidential Protective Detail and even rose to the rank of supervisor during the Obama administration. She retired from the Secret Service in late 2019 and then went on to work for corporate security at PepsiCo. She was then appointed director of the Secret Service by Biden in August of 2022. Now, this is where it gets weird. Shortly after her appointment, the Secret Service came under fire after claiming all of its communications from the January 6th issue were unavailable. Turns out the texts were deleted. Remember that story? I remember. What about when they couldn't find the cocaine left in the White House? Fun times. Fun times under her. Well, it gets even more strange with this lady. Dig a little deeper. In 2021, which if you're keeping track is 2 years after she left her government job to go work at PepsiCo, she was given a Presidential Rank Award. Now, I looked this up. A Presidential Rank Award is basically just a cash bonus for senior service members. It's like the highest rank in government. The cash award is 20% of your base salary, which for her would have been a cool $40K. Who was the president when she got this award? It was Joe Biden, the same person she worked protective detail for during the Obama presidency. Now, why would Joe Biden gift her $40,000 in a cash bonus more than 2 years after she left government, and then 8 months later, name her to director of the Secret Service detail? I think someone needs to answer a few questions in front of Congress. And lady, you better not try to invoke the executive privilege, because it ain't going to work. Now, that's just the Secret Service aspect, though. What about the FBI? They're the ones handling the investigation. Keep in mind, this is the same FBI that raided Mar-a-Lago and switched out the cover sheets. By the way, that case with Jack Smith got dismissed today. Take that, Jack Smith. You know, you're next to answer some questions. Again, you better not try to invoke executive privilege. You'll be in a cell next to Stephen Bannon or like Peter Navarro. So also, this is the same FBI that said for 4 years that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian misinformation. Remember the laptop from hell? This is the same FBI investigating it. How do they have any legitimacy? How do they have any credibility? The same FBI that told you the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping hoax. They had a hand in that. After all this, why should we have any confidence in whatever it is the FBI actually finds? And let's delve into some tweets here. This is from Paul Sperry on X. Developing. The FBI's Pittsburgh office, shout out Pittsburgh, that's us, leading the investigation into the bloody assassination attempt on President Trump's, also originally led the investigation of Hunter Biden's shady business dealings and was also involved in the probe of Jim Biden's shady AmeriCorps deal. It gets better. It gets better, though. I mean, they're already showing you they're lying to you. And how do we know? With the cell phone. They're already talking about the cell phone. Ryan, when you get a chance, can you play the audio of Fox News talking about how they recovered the cell phone, but they know it's a lone wolf? Please, just play the audio.
Official is telling Fox they believe the shooter acted alone. We're also learning that they can't get into his cell phone. They have it at Quantico, but haven't been able to get any data out of it.
Oh, they can't get into his cell phone, but they know for sure he acted alone. Hilarious. Thank you, FBI. Great detective work. You know, like I said, I already heard enough. Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray, they have to recuse themselves from this investigation into the attempted assassination of former President Trump if this is to be taken seriously at all. It's pretty clear at this point, and we'll get into all the facts later in this episode. Please call in. You know the number, 724-774-1888 or 843-1888 if you want to call in and talk. Either the top brass at the FBI or the top brass at the Secret Service, or both. We're in on this. Mark it down. We have a knack for predicting things like this. Remember, we're conspiracy theorists. Ryan, you texted me, I think it was Saturday at 6:30. Hey, what the heck's going on?
Yes.
I just want to know from your perspective, what did you see? What did you think? What did you...
You know,
It was one of them moments where like you don't realize you're in the middle of a historical moment right there.
It is one of the moments, and the whole time you're just trying to gather the information as it's happening, and you're kind of picking out what you see and just details. I was actually sitting home watching women's football, as a matter of fact, and I was texting Brian, also who does his show on Wednesdays, and I just sent him something about, I told him the football game was on, and he texted me back. He goes, "No, you have to get over to the news right now." And I went over to the news, and there they were. They just kept showing this image over and over of Trump apparently being shot at and fallen. And you know what? There is so much about this that really needs to be said. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of still so much information, Joe, that is out there. We could talk about a couple situations during the whole thing. My main thing was this. My first instinct was when they were taking him off of the stage. As Secret Service, there's 5, maybe 6 other bodies completely around him, and they let him stick his entire head out in his upper body and do his fist pump. And to me, that just seems like that's there's something odd with that. They usually protect you entirely. They keep you low. They get you off as fast as you can. Yet it's very, very strange. Joe, again, there's still so much information that's out there. And as you were saying, you kind of have to take what they put out there and try to sift through it. What seems to be the true information, what's not real information. But at the end of the day, if it is what it is set out to be, it was a terrible thing. This hasn't happened in our country since Ronald Reagan. And I didn't think that we would honestly see it in my life at any point where a president gets an assassination attempt taken out on him. But it happened. It was Saturday. It was very crazy. And, I always go back to 9/11, and it made me feel the way I did that day because, again, just an overload of information coming to you. Bang, 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 bang. And then you hop on social media to see what else people are saying. And you're just blown away by the whole thing. Again, I don't know what to make. There's things that seem right. There's things that don't seem right. And there's even things, as you said, was it the hand of God? Because the way the former president turned his head at that exact moment, in what was it, an AR-15.
A weapon of war, as they call it.
That thing would blow your ear clean off your head.
Yeah.
So again, there are a lot of questions. Once we could start maybe getting some answers, but with the intelligence and the way they put stuff out, we could tell you that it was this 100% truth, but we can't get into his cell phone. What do you believe?
I don't know what to believe. Let's cover all the things that are strange.
Yes,
it's
please.
hard to dissect this situation because there's so many angles of attack. You don't know where to start picking it apart at. But the one thing that kept on playing over and over and over again is the picture of the sniper. You hear 3 or 4 shots bang out, and then it's almost like instant back at him.
Yeah.
The sniper have him in his sights the whole time. It looks that way. And why didn't he shoot? It would make no sense. There are plainclothes Secret Service officers in the crowd. That makes sense. What wouldn't make sense would be why would there be a plainclothes counter sniper or sniper on a rooftop? That just would create confusion, I believe, for other snipers that are clearly identified. So this sniper had this kid in his sights, apparently. Was he told to stand down? And if so, by who? Again, FBI's handling the investigation. We'll have to wait and see.
Didn't they tell them to stand down on 9/11 as well?
I mean, conspiracies here. Conspiracies.
Yeah. And also, I mean, for one, so here we are. You have the president, the former president. He's up here talking. I'm sure they do this a million times wherever they go. A kid was able to, as you said, find that one spot that was completely where he could climb up. The kid climbed up with his arm or with his gun, gets up there, aims. He's in the guy's crosshair for a while. It could have been an isolated situation where that particular sniper,
people are pointing him out.
They're pointing, they're yelling, they're screaming.
And it gets better. This kid is like Bruce Willis because, Ryan, what if I told you the building where the gunman Thomas Crooks scrambled onto and opened fire was the staging area for the local police tactical team that was watching over the crowd?
That makes it even more insane.
Who is this kid? Jason Bourne? 20-year-old nerd Jason Bourne? Are you kidding me?
It's very, very confusing. It's certainly not cut and dry. And usually things like this aren't. However, there are a lot of twists along the way. There's a lot of turns along the way. And you're just sitting there, as I said, thinking, wow, I'm trying to make sense of it. But I know I need more information. I know I need more. And like I said, now it's just going to be the matter of how they give it to us. And
this is from an anonymous person in the military. He said the huge flag that was flying over Trump's head was the ideal wind flag that just said, here's the wind direction and distance if you are a sniper. And I mean, I don't know. It probably is true. Was that intentional? I don't know. But the fact you parlay all of these things together and it just does not add up. There is 0% chance a standard sniper spotter team would miss this guy on a white roof.
And another thing, Joe, it's the former president of the United States. This isn't, come on. What have you known your whole life? If you say anything or do anything wrong in the presence of the president, you're getting taken out and taken out fast.
Yes.
The way that this slowly evolved, the way that the Secret Service jumped up on stage, it seemed slow. There was a lot about this that just seemed off, Joe, and I'm curious. I encourage people to call in and give us your thoughts. I don't know.
Well, you know who else would be taken out fast? Whoever was in charge of this, because they'd be fired. And this is from Sean Davis on X. If the failed assassination attempt against Trump were the result of mere incompetence, we'd already would have seen several high-level resignations at DHS and Secret Service. No decent human could remain in any job after such a catastrophic failure. But if it were allowed to happen by deliberate malice, you would see these same high-level officials responsible for it to dig in, to double down on lies, and to make sure the cover-up is completed. And I mean, I don't know. Give us something. I think it was on Saturday night, late Saturday night, the FBI, which is probably the Pittsburgh field office, was blaming the Secret Service. And now the Secret Service, it comes out, the director, Cheadle, she's refusing to brief Congress on the failure. So she's not playing ball. So we're going to have to subpoena her or something. Isn't it amazing how these people could just not play ball?
It really is.
I was listening to Dan Bongino. He said that they basically had a skeleton crew for the Secret Service, and they were employing people from other agencies like the DEA and stuff like that, which we'll get into later. But I found out that Trump had temporary U.S. Secret Service agents for the PA rally. Would normally have 3 sniper teams, but apparently they only had 1. And the sniper team only had 1 day to prep. They usually need multiple, up to a week. The U.S. Secret Service resources were diverted to Jill Biden. Is that serious? And Jill Biden was campaigning, which is weird to say because she's not even president, somewhere in Pennsylvania over the week too, I believe.
And also one other thing, Joe, back when George W. Bush came to visit Vanport back in the early 2000s. A boss and a guy that I used to work with, they went and they seen him. It is unbelievably tough to do anything in the presence of this. You look weird. You look odd. You glance funny. These guys are on you. They're watching you. What the stand down was on this situation when a kid is on this roof with the gun pointed at the former president, my mind's blown.
Yeah. Then there's the blue and on conspiracies that honestly, and again, I can't get on board that President Trump wasn't shot or there wasn't a shooter. I can
Something
see
happened.
Something happened for sure. We just want more. We want more answers. But the blue and on theories are saying that this was, an actor. So it was just an actor, and that was it. All right. What else do we have here? I want to get into what people were saying about the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. I'll put you right.
Go ahead, bring him in. We have a caller.
What's your first name?
Send the caller over, Ryan.
Absolutely, Terry. I'll put you right through. Terry.
Terry, you're on.
Well, my fellow patriots, I just happen to be a constituent of Mr. Rico Elmore. And I knew him a long time ago, and I was so proud when I saw what he did at that rally when that disaster was going on. I just am so excited to see the patriotism in that man come out. And so I just did want to say that because he's in my ward. I mean, he's my councilman, and it had nothing to do with it. I just knew him, and what happened after the shooting was just supernatural. I don't know if I could have done half of what he did, and so God bless Rico.
Yes.
But, second point I wanted to make was, of course, I have to preface myself. I've been a Trump man since about 2014. When he first came down the escalator. And I've been a Trump guy forever. If you saw my Facebook page, pretty much everything I'm posting now is President Trump. So I'm a very staunch supporter. But if you look at what's gone on in the last 2-3 years, 4, more than that, whenever I call the demon-possessed Democrats have come against him in every possible way, he has been a survivor. Can you imagine the Russia thing, 2 impeachments? I'm not going to reiterate all the garbage that's been thrown at him. But God bless this man, and he has stood. And then, of course, getting fired at. Unbelievable, guys. And I can only say, as a proud born-again Christian that goes to church at Ridge Point Family Church in Beaver, he is anointed of God, and he is going to be reelected, and this country is going to be unbelievable. We're going to see economic growth. We're going to see spiritual growth. We're going to see Beaver County just do really, really great along with the rest of this country. I'm really excited. Of course, I watched the Fox News coverage of the convention today. So just wanted to give my 2 cents in to encourage everybody. People, we are getting on the tidal wave. It's about to happen, and it's going to be good. But fear not, because God is in control. He's going to take care of us all.
There's a reason that phrase is in the Bible so many times. Fear not. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it, though.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, could I say one thing, Joe?
Yeah.
Do you hear his voice when Terry was talking about his candidate, the person he follows, what he believes his candidate could do, how he feels that's going to positively affect our country if he does in fact get elected? How many times do you hear any Democrats have that positive demeanor in their voice when they talk about their candidate? They're ashamed.
Not since Barack Obama.
They're saying to themselves, "Please, anybody but him and him. We don't have a candidate here." You just heard it in Terry's voice. You could feel that from him, and he honestly believes that things are going to be better if Trump does get in. I have yet to hear a person, Democrat, Republican, young, old, anybody that really believes in Joe Biden.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, before we go to a break, I just want to bring up one more thing. I have a question. Whatever happened to all the people saying that the new Supreme Court ruling, remember that one last week where a president could assassinate his political opponents? Remember the USA Today wrote this last week? And I have it pulled up right here. I'll just read you the gist of it. Supreme Court's majority opinion didn't address whether a president would be immune from prosecution for assassinating a political rival while in office. Orders the Navy SEAL team to assassinate a political rival. Would it be immune? Sotomayor wrote. Sub-in SEAL Team 6 with the FBI, or again, who doesn't have the best track record since, let's go back to James Comey, and it looks like the USA Today may have been on to something. I mean, in a call last week, Joe Biden was recorded as saying it's time to put a, quote, bullseye on Trump. Remember the firestorm when Trump used the word bloodbath? Well, now we have a literal bloodbath. Again, the media, we're going to go over their reaction. We got to take a break. We're going to go over their reaction and more when we get back, as long as the shooter and his family. Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today. Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond. You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. A few years ago, I didn't realize how dirty the FBI actually was. Just like I didn't realize how dirty the outside of my house was. And that brings us to our next sponsor, So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing. Whether you need your house washed, your driveway cleaned, your patio done, fences, gutters, you name it, call Dave from So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing at 724-252-4489. Again, that's 724-252-4489. They're fully insured and offer free estimates. So what are you waiting for? Don't be the outcast in your neighborhood with a dirty house or deck. Call So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing today. I actually personally used this service last week, and I got to admit, my garage door, Ryan, brand new again.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
That's great, man.
Okay. So before we hop into the shooter and his family, let's cover some of the media and social media reactions. I got some CNN screenshots I could pull up here. But first, I want to talk about Jen Psaki. She claimed she was on her show incredibly scared. She's scared for journalists, and she's scared for people who have public platforms of all parties. Why should she feel threatened, of all people? The one from the podium with the microphone making these accusations that Donald Trump is going to destroy democracy and is a Nazi. Let me read you some of the other headlines I have from here. Donald Trump has been escorted off the stage by Secret Service during a rally after loud noises ring in the crowd. What did Brick Tamlin write this article from the Associated Press? Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. What is this, a Joe Biden thing they just recycled from the Air Force Academy? Trump's speech interrupted by Secret Service. Why did the Secret Service interrupt them? I don't know if that was also CNN. Wow. Just in, Donald Trump is rushed off stage by Secret Service during a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. Follow for live updates. Please give us those updates. Are there any more on my phone? No, I had to screenshot all those because they deleted them and went back. Ryan, you're a big sports guy. Do you remember Keith Olbermann?
I do, yes. He was worked for ESPN, correct?
And now he is just a window licker mutant. I don't even know. This is a tweet from him. The strangest parts of these are 12 plus hours after, and A, no authorities are confirming Trump's assertion that he was shot, as opposed to the glass story. I think he thinks a glass shattered and is actually what cut Trump's ear. And B, there seem to be a few media questions as to why they haven't. So I think he's accusing... I don't even know what he's accusing. It's Keith Olbermann. He's gone completely insane and off the freaking rails.
Yeah, I seen these. I seen the claims that people believe that there's glass involved.
Maybe, but he was shot at.
Right.
I mean, come on, people. What do you want? What do they want?
Right.
What do they want? Stephen King, an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle was used in the Butler shooting. These are guns of the Republican Party and that Trump want to protect. I don't even know what that means, and we'll get into the shooter and who bought the gun and that later. But Ryan, this is interesting. We talked about the FBI. This is an FBI agent, and she posted a meme of the Grim Reaper in one of those claw machines trying to get Donald Trump, and she can't get him, and she says, "Oh, so close." Shouldn't she be investigated? Actually, she could be investigating the assassination. We don't know.
Joe, if you don't mind, that reminded me of something. Do you recall at one point when Trump was, it's at some point, I believe he was president, where Kathy Griffin held that severed head of Donald Trump up, and it ended
yes,
up
absolutely.
It caught some heat. Then there was another situation when I don't remember who it was. It seemed like a Broadway act to me, and they were all stabbing
Hamilton.
President Trump.
Yes.
Why is this acceptable now?
Caesar, yes. I'm sorry.
Never
Julius
in
Caesar.
my life. I've never heard you can't even say things about the president. You can't type things in your phone and send it to somebody or on your. It's something that you want to be careful about.
Nope, you cannot.
They're openly doing these things, and that's what's what's going on here.
I have no idea, but the political landscape changed all of a sudden. Again, it was totally fine at one point. Now it's not anymore. Morning Joe actually got taken off the air for this entire week. And Ryan, if we had another call, just send him in. Morning Joe got taken off the air because they wanted to calm down the rhetoric. Send him over. Hi, you're on with Joe. Go ahead whenever you're ready. Who's this? Dan.
Hey, this is Dan.
Dan, how are you?
Good.
All right, what do you got for us, Dan?
Hey, we're talking about Trump being the attempted assassination. Did you guys know Jill Biden was in Pittsburgh at the same exact time?
Yeah, I heard a report from Bongino that supposedly Secret Service details were directed to her, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but according to Jan Bongino, a former Secret Service agent, that's what he said. So that's
a little strange, that she all of a sudden just quickly scheduled that at the last moment to show up to Pittsburgh to do a campaign while Trump was here.
Why in God's name is she campaigning? She's not running for president, is she? Or is she? Is she or is she? I don't know. Does any of this make any sense? I'm glad people are calling in and reinforcing that this is completely crazy.
Absolutely.
I mean, and the timing is what the timing should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Okay. But thanks for your call, Dan. I appreciate it. Great points.
Yep. Little mysterious.
Very mysterious, but as is the times we live in. All right, let's talk about the shooter and his family. So this shooter, get ready, brace for impact, was a Republican, according to sources. He also donated to the Act Blue Super PAC, which is completely odd, doesn't make any sense at all. And you have to remind yourself, sure, he probably was a Republican, but for how long? What kind of primary does PA have? It's a closed primary. And if he donated to the Act Blue Super PAC, he's not a real Republican. What he was doing was registering as a Republican so he could vote against Trump in the primary and vote for Nikki Haley or someone. And I know that might sound a little bit crazy because who would go through all that? But then again, who would drive 2 hours to kill a former president, right? Ryan, you brought this up. The kid was also featured in a BlackRock video.
Very interesting.
Is strange. This is from 2023, I think, at Bethel Park High School. What are the odds of that? How many videos does BlackRock put out a year, and his kid is in one of them?
That's the that's the theme of this whole thing, Joe. Is what are the odds? What are the odds that all these things played out the way that they did? Unbelievable.
We're just getting started. We don't even have enough for this. We don't even have enough time for this episode. No. It gets better though. So this kid, you figure, what's his home life like? Does he have bad parents? No. His parents are counselors. They're both professional counselors in Pennsylvania. You can look it up. It's public information. And guess who bought the gun? His therapist father. CNN identified the shooter's father as Matthew Crooks. And again, supposedly, this is the guy that bought him the gun. And I want to say it was around 6 months ago. Now, does anyone listening remember that court case a few months ago in Michigan where they said the parents can be held liable for a school shooter? I know I remember. Ryan, do you remember that case?
I do.
So what's going to happen with these parents? We need to question these people. Again, too bad the FBI is running the investigation, because I'd like to know what kind of mental drugs this kid was on. There's so much. And Ryan, do you know what Mike Cernovich is? He's a big guy on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it now. He went a little bit into conspiracy land whenever he tried to say this could be a case of MK Ultra. And he even went as far as to say that you could see more of this going forward. He said the FBI wants copycat attacks against Democrats. They may even deploy some soon. Beware. If you think it's crazy, read the book Chaos. It's all documented. It's not speculation. MK Ultra never ended. And I have to say, it sounds crazy, but is he really crazy? Think about it. This is their typical method of having an event like this. You have a shooter who's young, bringing an AR-15 style rifle with a shirt from Demolition Ranch, which is a gun YouTube channel. So you know they're going to try to push gun control later on, saying, look right here. We have an AR-15 rifle. Okay, all right. Mark, welcome back, Mark. Mark was on the middle of a flight. Hold on, Mark. Let me just finish this thought, and then I'll completely hand it over to you if you want. But again, you know they're going to try to push the gun control because they're going to say, look, we have this AR-15 used again by this kid. Was it legally bought? Should people have these types of weapons? This guy has all the earmarks of a classic patsy play. I'm going to say it. It's possible there could have been another shooter for all we know. There's no way this kid was going to be the one to take out Trump.
And that was another concern that I had, Joe, was whenever they were taking Trump off the stage and he was totally exposed of his upper body, his head, how did they know there wasn't a second shooter somewhere else?
I know. Are you serious? This dork right here. But again, we'll never know. The FBI is handling the investigation. Maybe the kid never even fired a shot. I don't know. I'm completely speculating here. I'm not saying he did or didn't. I mean, wasn't he interrupted by police on a ladder or something and still got off 5 shots? I think it's more than likely someone else got off a few shots and then got out of Dodge before they realized it was this nerd. Just look at the kid. Before we take a break, just look at the kid. Look at his chin, by the way. Did you see his chin? Osama Chin Laden over here. Jeez. Remember, it takes a team to create a lone wolf shooter. Just like with everything else, it's always a lone wolf, and he's always known to the FBI. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Mark's going to be joining us fresh off the plane. Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logical, 99.3 FM, WBVP. Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate. It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today.
Here's Dale Reckless from MRS Physical Therapy as he explains the importance of pre-sports testing to help you reduce the risk of injury.
The intrinsic factors are looking at things within our body that could be causing the problem. So that we start to look at as physical therapists, shoulder range of motion, forces at the elbow, things like that. We're looking at the whole kinetic chain. For example, turning your head side to side. If you have less than 39 degrees of that motion, you have a 9 times increased likelihood of an injury. So these intrinsic factors are both measurable and modifiable. So as a physical therapist, I can take a baseball player or any kind of athlete, I can do my tests on them and see if they're within normal limits or outside of normal limits. And based on research that's been done, I can tell if there's a likelihood of injury or not.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry. Visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. Brought to you by Mitchell's Jewelers. Remember, it takes an enormous amount of pressure to make a diamond, so why should you put yourself under pressure when buying one? Don't. Go to Mitchell's Jewelers where the choice is as clear as their diamonds. Mitchell's Jewelers, located at 2454 Mill Street in Aliquippa, PA. That's 2454 Mill Street in Aliquippa, PA. Mark, are you there?
Joseph, Ryan, yeah, I'm here. I am fresh off the plane. Wouldn't miss this episode for the world, so.
You almost did.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about today?
No, nothing much. Nothing much going on. The funny thing is, we left last episode. We're going to talk about the Republican convention all episode, and we haven't mentioned it once. And we got a new VP pick and everything. Let's just hammer it home. I don't know if you could see anything that I'm going to read here, but I'm going to read a few tweets from Darren J. Beatty on X. He says, reminder, this is the same Secret Service whose sweeps and dogs managed to miss the January 6th pipe bomb. The same Secret Service agents who, when informed of the pipe bomb, stood around nonchalantly and allowed a group of school children to walk by it. Is the Secret Service that somehow allowed a gunman to get on an unprotected roof 150 yards away from President Trump? Who runs the Secret Service? The Department of Homeland Security, the tip of the spear when it comes to political weaponization of the security state. Mark, he makes a lot of good points. Here's another real quick one. I can't get over how the Secret Service managed to let a guy hang out on the roof of a building next to where Trump was speaking. What are the chances of a mess up that colossal? How could the shooter have counted on such a statistically unlikely oversight? He said it's like the January 6th pipe bomb all over again. Mark, I don't even know where. It's like a giant, just your thoughts get confused. There's so many angles from the Secret Service to the response to the Secret Service to the FBI. Where do you want to take it? We need another brain on this.
Yeah, did the Secret Service kind of deflect responsibility for that rooftop? They say it was in the hands of local law enforcement. Is that who was supposed to secure the rooftop of that building only 100 and some yards away from President Trump? Was local law enforcement? I thought I heard on the Dan Bongino podcast on the flight home that the Secret Service identified this as a possible security risk the day or two before. So my question, I just have really two questions, Joe, this whole thing. How did this kid somehow make it up onto the rooftop, somehow undetected with a rifle? And second of all, the snipers are clearly locked in on him. Why didn't they engage the kid before he even made any shots? Or if they knew he was up there, why didn't they take President Trump off the stage? Those are the only two questions I have.
You couldn't pay me, guys, to walk around in the presence of the president with an AR-15. You're right. How did this happen, Joe?
The question is, go ahead, Mark.
I get the whole thing where they were trying to alert law enforcement and the Secret Service and police there. And not responding quick enough. I mean, you're talking about different communication channels. You're talking about different chains of command here at this point. It wasn't like, oh, there he is. Let's go, get him. I mean, you have to go through these protocols, but it was clear that these snipers were locked in on him. Why weren't they given the okay to shoot if they weren't? And if they were given the okay to shoot, why didn't they engage?
Very good points. And again, I'll hammer home my question. How did the gunman know that rooftop was going to be unguarded? If we had his cell phone, maybe we could find out. But again, nothing on a cell phone. Sorry, nothing on there. He wiped it clean. This kid's also a forensics expert, as well as a sniper and an explosive expert, because they found explosives in his car. It seems like JFK 2.0. The shooter was on a roof. May have been a decoy for the real sniper, Mark. I don't know how to get the ladder, Mark.
All it's missing is the grassy knoll.
He just rolled up to the Butler County Fairgrounds and he just said, "I'm going to go up on that roof right there and shoot President Trump." That's what we're led to believe.
Hey, I guess. Do you believe it? Does anyone? If anyone believes it, call in. I implore you, please. 724-774-1888 or use the 843-1888 number. Call in if you don't think this. Just I don't know. How about the response of the Secret Service after the shooting, Mark? Did you watch the video?
Of the Secret Service, the Italian guy on X, is that his name? Canigliano, I believe.
Well, the only people that did their job were the body guys for Trump that just jumped on immediately.
They were fantastic. However, you had Melissa McCarthy in the back there. Why does Trump have Secret Service people protecting him that are smaller than him?
Oh, I have the answer for that. It's because Director of Secret Service Detail, the Cheadle lady, she was quite the fan of DEI hiring. Her plan, Mark, was to have at least 30% of the Secret Service detail, I think, of the Secret Service be female by 2030. I don't know why they got 30%. Why not 52, which is like the female, that's the population is female. Here's the thing. How did this female DEI hires, how did they react during the assassination attempt? Well, one, if you watch the video, couldn't even holster her weapon. So I want to say to her, hello, Mrs. Female Secret Security Officer. Could you maybe try a little harder to holster your weapon and do it a little faster? She almost blows her hand off. And these people train every day. Again, the other one was protecting herself. She ducked down. You got to dive on the president. This is what Kim Cheadle wanted, or whatever her name is. I don't know why, but this is what Cheadle wanted. It's more like Miss Cheadle from Grandma's Boy than Cheadle. I don't even know what to say.
Today that they're making adjustments to his security detail.
They better. Dan Bongino said the woman was from the DEA. I think the woman that in the viral handgun. She's not even a Secret Service agent. She's from the DEA. I think they're outsourcing this. Again, because our last caller, Joe Biden, was in Pittsburgh. Did they divert Secret Service to them? I don't know. Mark, did you hear Joe Biden's presidential address from the Oval Office? That was just disgusting and embarrassment for our nation again.
Yeah, I saw a few clips of it on X.
Let's play a couple back to back. So again, it was really bad. Ryan, play the first clip.
Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful.
Okay. And then he said we need to settle our differences at the battle box. Ryan, play that.
And in America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. That's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets. The power to change America should always rest in the hands of the people.
And they recorded this numerous times and it's still that bad. They probably did it like 20 times and said, just, you know what, forget it. Forget it. But everything Biden denounced regarding rhetoric, his Oval Office, in that address, he's done it. He's done it in the past 3 years. Mark, has he not?
Not a cheap fake. You know what, Joe? Speaking of all this, these gaffes, no one's talking about that anymore. I'm not saying Biden set this up or did this or
you want to talk to Joe?
But this is completely taking the attention off of Biden.
All right, put you right there.
Hold on one second. We got another caller, Mark. Who we got?
Dawn?
Good citizen. You're on the line with Joe and Thinking Logically. What are your thoughts?
How's it going, Mark, Ryan, and Joe? Real quick about the press conference, that Biden had in the evening after the assassination attempt. He almost said, "Make America Great Again." Almost said it.
I heard that. I did hear that. It's funny. He bit his tongue. And if you're Anthony Blinken or whoever's, they're all probably in the background behind the camera just waving and they're probably just chugging Pepto-Bismol saying enough's enough. This is the best they can do. Just get it out there. It's 9:00 at night. He's going to be dead soon. That's a good point, though. Thank you for your call. Make America Great Again, as said by Joe Biden. Okay, how much time do we have before the next break? We got a couple minutes here. we're not going to play that last Biden audio, so scratch that, Ryan. I do have to read this. Why is it not coming up here? Okay, here we go. So this is from the account Unseen One on X. The story so far: a loner who lives more than an hour away with less than a week to review the spot and figure out the security zone to escape detection from law enforcement, and the Secret Service, while carrying a rifle through a crowd of thousands, finds a hole in the said security, climbs up on a roof with a perfect view of the stage, and has enough time to take 4 or 5 shots to the head of a former president with bystanders screaming out his location and a sniper's nest on Overwatch. Hey, anyone want to buy a bridge? Either he was the luckiest person alive, law enforcement and the Secret Service are the new Keystone Cops, or take your pick. And I don't know. You take your pick. Mark, do you remember talking about assassinations? Number one, in 2016, there was an assassination attempt on Trump. Someone tried to grab a police officer's gun at a rally, and this was, I think, in June of 2016. And do you remember Alexander Soros made that weird tweet on X about something about inflation, taking back inflation, and it had a bullet hole through a window and then $47 in dollars next to it, which was maybe supposed to represent Donald Trump?
Wasn't that long ago. He tweeted that out. Did you mention
January
about
21st.
Morning Joe being taken off the air today?
Yes, I did mention Morning Joe. I was kind of depressed because I was really looking forward to hearing that. Really looking forward to hearing that one. I mean, you gotta. It's crazy. This man, and they would have made fun of him. They took Morning Joe off the air because they were afraid of what he would say. But when you think about it, this man, Donald Trump, took a bullet for this country. I mean, ask yourself sitting at home, would you do that? I would take a bullet for my wife, for my son, but for my country. No one's done something like this since our founding fathers. Maybe Lincoln. Why would you even want to be president at this point? Why would you want to continue to go through this? But he still does. You got to give the man credit for that. Am I right or am I wrong, Mark?
No. Oh, you're right. I mean, don't forget about the Mar-a-Lago assassination attempt. They were supposed to go in there with their weapons drawn and things like that. So that's another could be assassination plot against Trump.
All right, we're going to move to a break.
This man is literally touched by the hand of God. I mean, that's all you could say.
No, you're right. Ryan, this tweet is for you.
Yeah.
This is from Oilfield Rando on X. Weird how the 20-year-old weirdo with zero training was able to bypass the highest levels of government security without the F-15s I've been assured he would need in order to do so. Remember Joe Biden?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Seriously.
It's like Mr. Magoo walked on the scene, and it makes no sense.
Just thinking about this, how he did this, and how everyone's believing it makes me want to just rip up this paper and break my laptop in half here. All right, we're going to take a break. When we return, we got one more segment. We're going to cover Trump's new VP pick, J.D. Vance. Thank God it wasn't Nikki Haley. J.D. Vance, we're going to have a little bit of coverage from the Democratic convention, and some Jack Smith news. Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
The place for news, sports, and entertainment. You're listening to Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, coming to you live from the all-new Fry Transportation Studios.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. The Republican National Convention, no pun intended, started off with a bang today. We had a new VP pick announced. Mark, no one has gone into their convention with this much political capital since I was trying to think of a reference and I couldn't. Think of one. Good luck.
Reagan in 80?
No.
84? I don't know.
No. If he would have got shot in 2 years after, maybe. But no. This is absolutely the amount of political capital this man has going into the convention. I mean, Nikki Haley even got invited back. She's willing to get back on board, but I wouldn't trust her as far as I could throw her. But the VP pick was announced. I wanted him to wait until Thursday as long as possible, let this news cycle just eat itself alive. But J.D. Vance is the VP pick. He was probably, Mark, I know you're a big J.D. Vance guy, as you should be. He was probably the only person outside of my big three, Ben Carson, Devin Nunes, Mike Flynn, that I would be comfortable with. So I'm glad it's him and not someone else. What are your thoughts?
I like J.D. Vance. I became aware of J.D. Vance through the movie Hillbilly Elegy. I was really struck by his story. I mean, this guy came from abject poverty in Appalachia, raised by his grandmother, I believe. His parents were drug addicts. He rose to prominence, went to Yale Law School. Obviously, you guys know the story by now. He went to Yale Law School, became a U.S. Senator, very close with Vivek, close friends with Vivek Ramaswamy, who I was actually hoping for. But speaking of Vivek, I don't want to jump the gun here on the J.D. Vance thing, but is Vivek the next senator from Ohio, Joe?
I hope so. I don't know how it works if DeWine is able to appoint someone or if that, but he'd be good. He'd be very good for a senator because we don't have any sharp tongues in the Senate like that. J.D. Vance is like our best one.
Where's Vance out of, guys? What state?
Ohio. Yeah.
Okay.
J.D. Vance is a great pick. I personally love the pick. He was in my top three. I think he'll be good. I mean, he's 39 years old. He's MAGA to the core, and I think he's going to, hopefully win over some of these voters in the Rust Belt states.
And for our audience, because I'm sure there are a few people out there that don't like to pick J.D. Vance because he wasn't always pro-Trump, and he wasn't always, Mr. 100% Trump, but he's come around. And that's the model maybe for 2024. Get on the Trump train like I did. Because the media is going to play J.D. Vance saying bad things about Trump from 8 years ago or whatever. I think he voted for Evan McMullin maybe in 2016. Don't quote me on that because I don't know. But he's come around now. He's the vice president. So that's a good model whenever the media uses negative things that J.D. Vance said 8 years ago or 6 years ago. What did I want to say here? Oh, this is a good one. This is from Joe Biden just a little bit ago. Here's the deal about J.D. Vance. He talks a big game about working people, but now he and Trump want to raise taxes on the middle-class families while pushing more tax cut for the rich. Well, I don't intend to let them, and if you're with me, pitch it. Maybe just sit the next few plays out, Joe. Seriously. I mean, come on. And, Mark, did you see 50 Cent could be at the national convention? He's in talks with the convention officials to appear in Milwaukee during the GOP convention. I
did see that. I saw something on X about possibly him and Trump coming out together to many men, wish death upon me. I mean, that would officially break the internet if that were to happen.
Yes, it would. All right.
Did you see something about Dave McCormick calling for a suspension of negative political ads between him and Casey? If so, what did you think about that?
No, I mean, they'll never go for it because I feel like I don't know. Democrats are always the better at the political attack ads, but I feel like this is the year where Republicans can really take advantage because who gets to define what a negative attack ad is? Because what these people have done, some of these Democrats have done are really bad things. I mean, some of these people, I'm not saying Bob Casey is, want 9-month abortions. So what is an attack? What is it? I don't understand. And why now? Why all of a sudden now?
In an ad?
Why all of a sudden are they saying this now after there was just a big turn in the presidential race and it affects people down ticket? You get what I'm saying? All right, we're running out of time here. Let's move on to Jack Smith, Mark. In any other day, this would be the biggest news story of the week. Huge news. Judge Cannon just dismissed the documents case based on unlawful appointment of Jack Smith, and the special counsel Jack Smith's Florida case against Donald Trump has been dismissed. The superseding indictment is dismissed because special counsel Smith's appointments violates the Appointments Clause of the U.S. Constitution. Does anyone know what the Constitution is anymore? Well, that's the reason. This means that the armed raid on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home was itself unconstitutional and illegal. What are the odds, Mark?
Well, if Donald Trump wins re-election, I think you're going to see Eileen Cannon get elevated to the Supreme Court. I mean, she might take Clarence Thomas's seat on the bench. You never know, but I think this was a great move. And another one for Trump. I mean, is he having the worst week ever or the best week ever? I don't know.
We said it'd be a boomerang. Talk about a boomerang, man. Jeez. This is the biggest Uno reverse card in political history. He was supposed to be in jail facing 100 years, and now look. All right. This is from Brian Cates about Jack Smith. He says Judge Cannon just filleted and deboned the Jack Smith special counsel like a fish. Smith is now forced to appeal, and it'll likely go all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, which already accepted an amazing legal brief filed by former Reagan AG Ed Meese on this very issue. I don't know what that last part means, but I would love to see this go to the Supreme Court. Let's see. Let's find out more about this illegal raid on a president where they faked the cover letters. Please, FBI. DOJ, Merrick Garland.
Yeah, I mean, do they continue to pursue this now, or do they just drop it? Because they should probably just drop it at this point.
I think Jack Smith has to take the defense on it and figure out why this happened. For Trump being in jeopardy, I think that's all done. As far as anything else, I don't know. But we have 5 minutes left. I want to move away from politics and give an update on the Alec Baldwin trial. It was dismissed with prejudice. And why? Because the prosecution had a box of live ammo from the set and did not tell the defense, which is a clear, actionable Brady violation. They already swore in the jury, so I'm not sure if that means they can't retry due to double jeopardy. But look what I found because we mentioned this last episode, the game Hitman. Curtains Down is the third mission of the Hitman game Blood Money, taking place during an opera rehearsal for the opera Tosca. So in this game, you enter the basement and you go through there's two dressing rooms. You enter the one, there's a bodyguard. He'll go to the bathroom and then he'll close the door behind him. You're then supposed to quickly enter that room and hide in the closet until the actor comes back. The actor will start practicing with his prop gun and leave it on the desk when he goes to the bathroom. This is your chance to swap out the prop gun for the real one. When the rehearsals begin, the bell rings and the actor and the bodyguard leave. You make your way out of the dressing room. During the rehearsal, the actor will kill your target for you. Wow. It's in a game. And I don't know, the case is dismissed. We'll never hear anything else about it in the world. A woman was killed with so many strange things about it. Write it up as something we'll never figure out again. Mark, do you have any comments about Alec Baldwin?
No, I mean, shocking end to this whole trial.
Not really shocking but shocking. Shocking, but not shocking because it always seems to end that way. Okay, Biden. So he announced today, I don't know how this is going to be possible, but he announced today that he plans to cap rents at 5% nationwide? Will he? With what authority is he going to do that? It would strip tax benefits from corporate landlords who don't comply. The plan, which will likely require control of Congress, comes as Biden emphasizes a populist econ ideas after the debate. I don't even know what to say, Mark. Talk about a guy that just goes against the rule of law. He's a dictator.
When I saw this, I thought, how is he going to do that? You know, who knows?
All right.
I mean, just trying to buy votes at this point. You know, it's too late. It's too late for these novel ideas.
I'm going to make a prediction right now, a major prediction, because it's quiet down about Biden leaving office. Joe Biden will be out of the White House or not be the nominee by mid-September. We'll say by September 20th. He won't be the nominee. Might sound a little late to you. Guarantee it. Write it down. All right. Someone just sent this to me on X, asking if the shooter brought the ladder. And that's the $1 million question. Did the shooter bring the ladder, or was it left there by the building owner? By the building owner. That's interesting. If he brought the ladder, no one noticed. That's a big ladder. If he didn't bring the ladder, who left it out? The name of the business on this building is America Glass Research. We'll have to look into that later on, Mark. It's owned by a parent company called Indicator, and the CEO is Douglas Wright. It looks like it might have ties to the WEF, but I am still digging. Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, this is breaking news. Apparently, Trump shooter was spotted by law enforcement 30 minutes before shots fired. Cops even took a photo of the suspect but did not go onto the roof to investigate. according to WPXI.
Why bother him, you know? Yeah.
Wow.
All right. We are out of time. It was a jam-packed episode. There was so much we didn't get to. Ryan, anything you want to say?
Yeah, just real quick. I just want to ask you guys one question real quick, yes or no. With the way that Joe Biden said we're going to put Donald Trump in the bullseye, is that going to slow down the argument about January 6th because of what Trump said? Isn't that kind of the same thing? And is Democrats going to be able to continue to use the January 6th after Biden's
they shouldn't
comment?
be able to. And every time they try to, say, hey, how many feds were out there? How many feds were in that crowd? But they shouldn't be able to. Good point, though. Mark, anything before we break, before we leave?
Before we wrap up, yeah, great show. Everything has changed, Joe, on Saturday. It's about 6:15, 6:30 p.m. Saturday night. Everything has literally changed. Donald Trump, as I said before, possibly touched by the hand of God, just like this country has been. And we're going to see what happens and see if the country unites behind Trump, the rest of the week and the rest of the year.
All right. Well, what happens next, in my opinion? First, they cheated to get him out of office. Then they went after him when he said he was announcing he was running for president. What happened when that failed? Things turned a little physical. They tried to kill him. Now they missed their chance, and they're not going to get another one. So again, what's next? I don't know, but whatever it is, it's not just going to be misinformation in court cases. Things have now gotten physical. Expect chaos moving forward. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Joe Corsi. You were listening to Thinking Logic on 99.3 FM. We'll be back on Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. See you then.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're listening to